Hello, welcome to the Learning Playlist, a podcast for the major and general education courses under the tutelage of Mr. Ryan Dave Ryla, USJR College Instructor. This project is a supplement to the said courses and as a means to share knowledge to the public at large. To help the podcast grow, kindly follow us at facebook.com/the Learning Playlist. And now, on to our show. Okay, now that we're recording, first things first, anhista ta sa ato ang resources para sa qualitative methods. So nakoy duha ka libro or rather chapters of books rather nga akong gi-upload. So ang una is kaning Political Science Research in Practice by Malichi and Smith. You have two chapters here. I believe I've introduced this to you in the previous semesters, no? Why do we need a science of politics or how did we get a science of politics? Familiar ba ta ani dikan sa political analysis nga class? Or wala ni nato nalabot if I'm correct. But in any case, basahon ni ninyo siya as we need to bridge political analysis and qualitative methods together. And you will also bridge that sa inyong quantitative, no? But bili ko mo tudloan nga subject anhilang ko sa qualitative. Right. For qualitative data analysis, I want you to read first kaning qualitative data analysis method source book. This is basically a condensation of the of chapters 1 to 4. So taas-taas ni siya nga PDF. Unya di lang kay siya maklaro pagka-scan pero sige lang, I think makuha pa man ninyo no with some with a PDF file here. Then you have chapter 5 and 4, but we will save chapter 5 and 4 for later. Ang importante karon ang kanisang chapter 1 and 2. Right. So why do you need the materials here kaning duha? And you might be asking, well, is it needed nga mukuan pa napatay kaning science of politics, etc., nga discussion, no? Do we need to go back to discussions on or do we need to bridge data analysis with political analysis per se? I would say yes. Kinihanglan siya simply because we need to understand how political scientists do research in their own field. Dili lang ingon nga mag-research ta based on different paradigms or modules dikan sa lain-laing mga disciplines, but we need to ground ourselves within the field of political science research. Now, unsay aim nato sa tuang prelims nga period? Okay, kusa ni i-close ha. Now, unsay aim nato sa prelims nga period? First things first, ato ang no? Ato ang unahon ang ato ang pag-ground sa ato ang research or rather sa ato ang kaning subject, no, which is basically a research subject ang qualitative methods. Now, I did told you last time sa ato ang lain nga subject nga we will be using qualitative methods as a means to continue with what we have learned sa political analysis, primarily ang katong sa policy brief, no? Because basically ang policy brief is based on a framework on community engagement. So kana siya ato nang gamiton because it fits very well with what we have today or this sem with qualitative methods. So the first thing you need to know about qualitative methods DI class is this. Sa qualitative methods, we deal with words, primarily words. No, we analyze content in the form of words, and by extension, we deal with narratives. Okay, we deal with narratives. So, unsa may mga narratives nga prevalent karon that you wish to analyze, perhaps, no? Kadit sa ha ako ning ako ani siyang tan-awon if na name I downloaded something earlier nga makakuan ta og meeting, makagamit ag mag-doodle or something. Wait lang, asa tong board, no? Mo board. Okay. Kung dili mo kuan ang board, ani lang ta mag-share lang ko sa ko ang PowerPoint nga screen. Then you can provide your inputs. Okay. Nakita na akong screen, class. Do you see the screen now?
Yes, sir.
Karon, how about now? Nakita na?
Yes, sir. Makita na, sir.
Okay. So we have narratives or stories as part of our discussion, or rather as the object of the study sa kaninga subject, no, qualitative methods. So narratives or stories, unsa may mga tan-aw ninyo karon that are unsay ka mga stories or narratives, unsay mga topics, basically topics that you feel should be pursued by political science students like you, that should be studied in a scientific and rigorous manner. So unsa kay matun-an nato karon nga mga topics? What interests you? Mga narratives or stories. Unsa kaha? I'll be using the output here para sa inyo hapong pa-groupings later, no? Sa ato sang first nga activities. So yeah, what are the narratives that you want to study? So may mga stories karon that captures your imagination. Anyone? You can raise your hand. So may mga narratives nato diha or mga stories karon that you want to pursue or that you want to study. Sa kaha? Yes, Brian, go ahead.
Ko answer, one of the interesting narratives that I've noticed na prevalent siya kayo sa social media, sir, is the Marcos, kanang martial law era daw po was the golden age of the Philippines narrative na po, like, popular siya kayo sa Facebook, sir, even if it's not true, sir.
Okay, so pwede na siya, no, martial law era as a golden age that can be distilled further into researches, and I think daghang kay mga rich body of research karon on that one, and qualitative pud kayo siya, no, because if inyong tan-awon naa siya'y daghang makuha diha or daghang makuha diha nga mga data coming from words. What else? Unsa pa kay lain ninyong mga ideas or rather mga laing topics that you want to pursue, that you want to study? Thank you, Brian, for your participation. Unsa pa? Unsa pa kaha? Sige. Anyone? Or how about kani pro tip? Unsa may mga na-cover ninyo nga research sa una? No? Sa may mga not research but unsa may mga na-cover ninyo nga topic sa una? Sa ato ang mga tutorial reporting, sa ato ang mga sa different courses ninyo that you wish to further dig into, no, to know more. Unsa kaha? Naa ba mo'y mga na recall something memorable perhaps nga reports ninyo? Anyone? Sa pay mga narratives diha nga ganahan nato tun-an or ganahan nato tukion nga mga topics karon? Could be national or international, by the way.
Sir,
Yes, Jane, go ahead.
foreign policy of Duterte, sir, ba? It's effective kuno. Yes. He befriends China and other powers, sir, instead of defending our rights.
Okay. Duterte's foreign policy. Okay. This fits very well with with qualitative methods, no? I remember a research panel that I attended sa una way back in the day nga nagkuan ni siya nga ni fit gid ni siya nga framework of qualitative nga method. In a way he was looking into this this kaning student was looking into secondary sources of information, meaning mga newspaper guban pa. And then nangutana ang panel member niya, one of the panel members, colleague nako, ngutana nganong di siya mo interview o world leader kuno, di siya mo interview mga prime minister. Now of course obviously the implication is dili makaya kay ang resources wala diha and these people are not largely available, no? But the point here is ang kanang pag-review of foreign policy is based on words, di ba? Based on narratives that are crucial in our understanding of how the world works today. Sige, so thank you kayo ana for your suggestion, Jane. Okay, what else? Unsa pa nanatay local nga issue or national nga issue and then nanapod tay international. Yes, somebody is raising her hand. Prisha, go ahead.
Sir, could we try research about fake news, sir? Since mo na pinarampant na to, bro.
Okay, fake news. Pareha mo topic ni Brian, duol-duol ra. But on a different kuan na siya, different lang siya o matawag siguro nato different o pamaagi, no? In fact, I read just recently, bago lang na conclude ang research sa inyong counterparts IS. If you're familiar, batch nila Kaske, no, kana sila Kalipayan ug uban pa nga batch sa IS, they did their research one, and they also have qualitative methods. Actually, they were looking into fake news. Okay, some of their classmates were looking into fake news. Mangayo lang kog paper adto if interested mo, or rather the chapter 1, 2, 3, so that you may read it. No, so very instructive. Thank you, Krisha. Sorry, Kersha there. Thank you, Ms. Apitan. Yes, we have more participants. So atong unahon si Mr. Sanchez. Okay. Enrico, go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yes.
I think about red tagging, sir, especially katong ni transpire lang lately about chat book, sir.
Come again? Come again?
Red
Wa ko
tag.
kadungog kay. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sir, about red tagging, sir. Katong kay
Okay.
lately, any transpire about Sir Chad, sir, book.
Okay, si Chad Buok. Okay. Red tagging. Yes. In fact, nanay kuan nanay nindot ana nga mga articles on red tagging ang sa UP Cebu, no? Ang colleague mismo ni Sir Buok, may he rest in peace. Sila Sir Reglito Imbong, no? And I'll be introducing you some of the papers ni Professor Reglito with his permission, of course, para inyong basahon, no? Kay naapo na siya nga phenomenon of red tagging as a very crucial nga discourse or narrative sa atong time karon, no? Red tagging. Nganong na siya. Sige, thank you, Mr. Sanchez. We have another participant, si Miss Hamora. Johnny, go ahead.
Sir, how about ang divorce sa Pinas, sir? Mabilang na sa qualitative.
Pwede magyapon na ninyo i-pursue, no? Divorce. An old issue, pero makuan gihapon, ma-relevant gihapon sa atong time karon, especially given nga na naghapoy another push for divorce, no? It seems nga ang divorce as an issue in the Philippines, so long as naagihapoy clamor, is timeless. Timeless siya, dugay kay na siya mawagtang. And in fact, over the years, daghan ng mga narratives, daghan ng mga nasulti ana, no? So if you want to research more on divorce, you can look at the different pros and cons of this matter, although na-outline na siya. At the same time, look at those who are pursuing or who are against any measures of, let's say, legalizing divorce in the country. Kana, no? So, timeless kaya na siya. Daghan na nag-literatures ana. So, yeah. Thank you, Ms. Hamora. What else? Unsa pa? How about from others? Maybe napamoy mga interesting nga mga proposals diha for research. Or other topics lang sa, no? Kay by the end of the prelims period, in 2 weeks time, I will let you defend your chosen topic as a group. So sige lang, I'll give you the details much later. Yes, Miss Tumulak, go ahead.
The topic with the sir is on lack of support in agriculture.
Miss Tumulak, can you make your microphone louder? Di ka madunggan kaayo.
Sir, kanang lack of support sa agriculture.
Agriculture, unsa to?
Lack of
Ka-
support,
kamag-
sir. Lack of support.
Okay. So, agriculture. Do you mean land reform or simply kuan lang kanang support sa agriculture in the form of incentives, in the form of
The form of incentives, sir.
sige, pwede po na siya ma-part no? But your topic is tied down to the general topic of land reform in the Philippines. Kay mo na siya murag mo na siya ugat gyud sa tanang agriculture issues din sa ato and by extension land disputes. So naapod na siya nga problema, land reform. Okay? So na siya buhi na kay na nga diskurso, buhi kay na siya nga let's say nga topic, and that would be good if you can pursue such a topic sa ato ang sa ato ang kaning qualitative. Okay, thank you kayo, Karen. Then we have another one. Pa? Anyone else? How about from the other how about from the other how about from the other guys? No, so far sa atong lista si Brian Ramay na ay suggestion. No, di kan sa sa guys. How about Steve? Steven? Na kay suggestion, Mr. Aragon? Steven, go ahead. Your mic is on now. Okay, maybe dili madunggan na to si Steven. Sige, go ahead, Steve.
Sir, regarding sa Catholic Church endorsing politicians, sir.
Okay. Catholic Church endorsement. Okay. Kana. Karaan na po na siya nga issue, Steven. But it's still very relevant today. Especially given, no, kung kabantay mo, daghan na kay mga bishops o guban pa na nag-endorse ni Lenny. And just recently, I think I shared the post on Facebook, so maybe nakakita na mo. Ni-endorse di ay ang ni-endorse di ay ang mga higher education institutions, mga universities, Catholic universities mostly, ni-endorse ni VP Lenny, no? So kana siya. So mahugba na siya nga part gyapon na siya sa Catholic Church endorsement, or maybe we can ask if naabay ka gitawag na tug pagbuak-buak sa boto sa simbahan. So kana dako sa na siyang discourse, Steven, kani imong gipili, and I think we need to break this down into many elements para mas dali ma-research, no? But it's a very very big discourse and very relevant. Even in the siguro, even in the future, no? So buhi gid kay ni siya nga diskurso. Okay, thank you. Natay participation di kan sa comment section ni Miss Intong. Okay, EJK kana AK as human rights violation. Okay, so nana siya nga actually in the past 5 years na po yung mga research papers on that one, no? But how would you like to make this into ka, Miss Intong? Kanang how do I say this? How would you make this into more closer to you as a student, no? Unsaon ka how do we make EJK closer? Kay kuan sad siya no, na siya pagka-abstract pod. So kana siguro akong pangutana nimo, how would you make this more relevant for students no ang EJK? Sige Tricia, go ahead. Ms. Perez?
Freedom of media, sir. Katong sa time ni Miss Rasa of Rappler and katong sa EDC and towards kanang Duterte administration, sir.
Okay, press freedom is a huge issue as well sa Pilipinas no, labaw na karon nga wala na ABS-CBN ug uban pa. So naghang kini siya mga narratives pod nga matuki nato, but again this is very broad and we need to narrow it down. Maybe siguro kung ano, Ms. Perez, you can bring it down to the level of where you live. How is press freedom, let's say, protected in where you live right now? I'm presuming you live in Cebu City or in Cebu Province, Ms. Perez?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So kana, how is press freedom protected here in Cebu? In fact, daas kaya na siyang history, no? And kung makabantay mo, maybe maglakaw-lakaw mo dapit sa kulon and maabot mo dapit sa may if ever you're kwan katong sa una pa, no, if ever maglakaw-lakaw or if ever mabalik na tong face-to-face classes, pagbantay mo sa mga old nga mga, let's say, commemorative markers o mga plaques, na siya mga places diha sa kulon that actually commemorates kaning mga journalists nga gipat nga nangamatay tungod sa kaning pag-defend nila sa press freedom, no? And that can be also a form of EJK, by the way. So naapod na siya. We have a very rich history here of that one. So maybe you can look that up in the near future. Okay, thank you, Ms. Perez. And last one, before tamo move on sa discussion, last one, kinsa may ganahan mo input o the last input. Anyone? So may ganahan ninyong i-include pa ani, no, narratives, stories that you wish to pursue. Anyone? Before nato i-close ang forum, no? Last input. So you have a broad array of topics here, mostly sa local, but that's good. Okay? So unsa pa may ganahan ninyo nga input or rather i-input ani narratives that you wish to tackle?
Hello, sir.
Yes, go ahead. Mr. Gabuya.
Kuan, sir, kanang sa international, sir, ba, like participation sa kaning mga certain organizations, like from state to state nga kuan, sir, nga mga like NATO, sir, ba? Nana, sir.
Okay. NATO, pwede pod, no? Kaya naman na siya mga different kuansa, no? Na po yung mga different aspects sa NATO on especially sa states on why they joined. And importante sa na pagtanaw nato ang ilahang historical content. By the way, if you want to study let's say, if you want to study qualitative nga mga or if you want to pursue qualitative methods or qualitative studies, I would suggest nga you familiarize yourself with history. Kay mo balik-balik ginagawas any topic na gina historical context. Okay? Which brings me to the next point para sa ato ang discussion here, no, introduction on qualitative methods. Na ay meanings ang kaning pagtuon ninyo sa mga subject. Sa kaning mga topic, no? So within the general framework of qualitative methods in studying topics related to political science, or rather topics within political science, no, the study of politics, na ay mga meanings. So ato na isuwat din sa next. Meanings. So may mga meanings. So may pasabot ani. Meanings can come in different form. They can be, let's say, symbols. They can be the language that we use, no? Or more specifically, terms. They can also come in the form of themes, mga tema, no? Because themes distill, or rather themes are the distilled version or the distilled form of values. Kaya sa may mga tema nga common kaayo sa atua, sa inyong mga gipanghatag dinhi, makita siguro nato nga common nga theme, and mo ni siya ang timeless kaayo nga tema, no? Mo ni siya ang justice. Okay? Fairness. Unsa pay mga laing themes nga makuha siguro nato? Maybe makuha nato ang theme of order. Mga tema. Nganong naa may mga meanings sa ato ang mga discussions? Nganong importante man? Yes?
Unity. Unity.
Even unity is a theme, no? I see what you did there, ha? So kana, even unity is na siya tema gyapon, but overall when we look at or unity is a theme, overall when we look at qualitative data kay in the form of words man ni sila, in the form of stories, of narratives, atong makuha ana at the end of it is naa siya mga pasabot that we apply into our life, no? So meanings, ang atong actions manggo dili mo gud siya ingon nga mulihok lang ta just for the sake of moving, but rather we move or we do things, especially in politics, because it has significance to us. It affects us emotionally. And I think mo ni siya ang dapat natong next point, which is ang politika naa siya emotions. And where do emotions stem from? They stem from mga different nga meanings nga ma-encounter nato. And sa qualitative methods, those different meanings, those different symbols, the terms that they use, and how they frame their languages, or how they frame the stories, these matter in the sense that we can distill why people act in such a way. For example, nganong naay mga tao nga mutuog hapon ni BBM. Okay, ngayon ko bias na ko ana, namsad ko ikuan. You know my political stance already. But the idea here is, why is this something atong tukion using qualitative methods? Because dili man siya ma-capture through quantitative lang, di siya ma-capture through statistics alone. Although we can use statistics as a means to draw out the themes, to draw out the meanings of language, di ba? Or the meanings of their actions, right? So ingon ana na siya kay importante ang mga pasabot. Dili lang ingon nga ang kalibutan is drawn out simply by looking at actions and putting a number on it, like gibuhat niya kapila, no? In elections, for example, kato balik ta sa classic sa atong example of BBM, nganong ganahan mo boto niya into office. It's not enough nga magpa-survey ta nga magkuan lang nga naay kani this number of persons mo ni ilang butaran, no? 55% BBM. Then we have 30% or 20% Lenny. It's not enough to simply tabulate everything nga mauna siya ang results sa survey. There must be more. And diha musud ang qualitative method. No, di mo na siya ma-distill nga numbers alone. You need the words so that you may know unsa ang gihuna-huna sa mga tao or sa individual, no? Ato na siyang gamitan og method, duha na ka method sa tong gamiton to distill meaning. Kung magtuon mo og certain topics na atay gitawag og interviews, na pud tay gitawag og focus group discussions, and na pud tay gitawag og surveys. Okay? So na sila mga kuan. But ang survey, in general, surveys nowadays are thought of as quantitative. However, surveys can also be used sa ato ang method sa qualitative, provided nga naatay gitawag og triangulation, meaning ang collaboration, ang data nga nakuha sa survey nga mao ni ang number nga nibutar, dapat mag-collaborate nato um with with data coming from the words of people whom we have interviewed. Okay? So naana siya, importante kina siya sa research sa Pulsay because we need to verify our information. Dili lang ta mo dawat nga mao may nigawa sa survey. We need to verify, we need to put in more so that we may understand the why. No, we may know the meanings behind their actions. So karon init kay na siya nga pagtuki nato sa election, no? That people do not vote simply because they can vote. They vote because their vote has meaning for them. It has a sort of significance for them nga sila ray makasabot, or rather makasabot ta, but we need to distill it from them using teams, no? So later on sa kuan ani mga maabot siguro tag midterms or final term, magsugod tag coding, no? Maghisgot ta about coding, how to code teams and how to distill meanings out of them. So ang kaning kuan, ang kaning ato ang pagtuki day ani, ato ang pag-talk about qualitative methods is ato silang hulbutan og mga pasabot. No, pasabot for example sa red tagging, nganong ingon ana siya and what does it mean for different people, nganong na ay divorce, no? Unsay mga different meanings surrounding divorce, what are its contexts, unsay mga panghitabo, no, nganong na ay EJK and why press freedom is under threat, or kung international nganong ang NATO ingon ani ang ilang lihok, then kang Duterte nganong ingon ana iyang policy. Okay? Do you get what I mean, class? Namoy questions? Namoy mga ganaha pang i-join in? Ani? Anyone? Class? So I presume nakasabot ra ta. So mo na siya ang inyuhang kuan, no, ang inyuhang buhaton throughout this semester. You will be distilling meanings from the words of people, from their from how they think, from in terms of politics, no, how they view politics and how they act upon it. So kana siya importante kayo. Sometimes makanahon na ta wala man siguro emotions ang politika. But no, not really. Dako sa role ang emotions, no? And ma-measure ba na ang emotions using sa qualitative data analysis? That depends on how we construct our research based on the framework, no, unsay gipangita nato, unsay research question guban pa. And throughout the semester I will help you find research questions, or I will help you craft your research questions so that you can conduct at the end of it ang katong capstone project nga buhaton nato ni ka final term, which is again magbuhat tag policy brief instead of a full research. Pagbuhat tag policy brief capturing a particular political interest among students, no? Nganong political interest man among students, daghan kay mga political interest among students, class. You might be surprised nga naa a movement sa USJR. You might be surprised nga naay kanang movement for, let's say, the recognition of PWDs. No? So na sila kanang nanay undercurrent ana. So you might want to study that. Also there's an avid community of gamers sa USJR, and I'm not just talking about kanang magduwa lag ML, no, although that's a legit game, but there's kanang yung mga hardcore nga gamers, like they want to be professional gamers and they want to be recognized by the university as a sport. No, kuya, no? So na yung mga various interests sa politika nato karon, even on let's say even on a university level, kay microcosm man ni sa kinabuhi ang ato ang eskwelahan, no? So yung ana siya. Alright? Sige. So we'll end this session right here. Unya, I want you to think of particular topics, kada usa ninyo, particular topics that you wish to pursue. And what I want you to do is i-record ninyo using your MS Teams nga group, no, na may group channel. Pag-record mo og let's say about 30 minutes or 15 minutes nga discussion on you guys, discussion sa kanang group ninyo, no? Discussion ninyo to, let's say, to evaluate unsa kahay mga student interest. Let me pose the question na lang para madali. Okay. What student interest would you petition the Supreme Student Government for? Unsa kaha? Sa kay mga pwede ninyong mapetisyon nila nga let's say ma-recognize. Kay hatagan mo na ko example ha, kana bitang if you remember or if nakasugat siguro mo ani, tabantay mo nang sa ubang eskwelahan, and we certainly have this USJR, na ay kanang mga vending machines, kanang mga Milo nga tag 20 or kanang coins lang nga Milo, yan na siya ay makuha ninyo sa ubos, na siya kanang you know, it's either cold or hot nga Milo na mga ingon ana. Those were once student interest nga gipalatad sa SSG. So karon I want you to think of, let's say, unsa kay posible ninyong tukion nga topic that can become a possible proposal for your Supreme Student Government. Ingon na lang, di lang sa tamo adto sa local government, no, kay dako-dako na siya. Anhi lang sa ta sa level nga masabtan nato and we feel is very close to us. So kay mapetisyon ninyo sa student government nga interest, no? And dili lang bisag unsa nga interest, but you must feel that you are a stakeholder in promoting this interest, meaning naakay kanang naakay katungod aning pag-promote nimo aning interest, kay ikaw mismo part ka ana, no? So daghan kayo na siya, daghan kayo. We can just cite some samples, common ones like recognition sa LGBT ug uban pa. Those are interests that are now mainstream, but maybe you have some interests that you have in mind that you feel are not mainstream yet, that are not even recognized yet. Okay? So mo na inyong buhaton, no? Sa inyong group channel, pag-discuss mo among your members on unsay posible nga himuon ninyo as a student interest nga inyong ipetition sa SSG. Okay, and with that, kung wala na mo question, napay question by the way. Napay questions? Sige, kung wala, sige lang. Anyway, we have the threads sa MS Teams. If you have other questions, ato na ibutang dito. For now, we will end the recording here. So stop recording in 3, 2, 1.